thought he had actually a very good game. He is a natural wing back, so it is his favoured position. And in actual fact, what Conte said was that actually for the first time, including him and Sessegnon, he started to see the fruits of the work they've been doing with those wing backs. And that goal is actually a typical type of goal that he might have scored at Wolves, because he scored a few goals. He is that sort of player that will get on the end of something as he runs forward like that. And I think one swallow doesn't make a summer, as they say, but maybe he might be the player to come in to play that natural role, because Royale, under Nuno, we were playing a different system. He's probably a better defender, but he's not a wing back.
He's not a defender. He's a shit defender.
Well,
he's a shit defender. He can't defend. He can't defend.
He is only 22, right? So I'm not going to write him off. But
I'm not writing him off. But the man can't recover.
Right. You could be right.
He doesn't recover. I don't get to many games this season so far, and the one game that I got to, I was running to my seat faster than he was running back into position. Just fucking woeful in that game.
I'm not going to write him off yet, but I don't think he fits that system, and I think possibly, maybe not the long-term answer, but definitely in the short term, that given the fact that Doherty has played that role, he seems the better fit for it, and I think is a good chance he will keep that for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I'll let you come in a second. I think Doherty, I think has that was his best game it's his best game, but I think he's been improving for a while. I don't think I personally think he's been improving for a while. Even when he played, there was a period of games where he was playing left wing back, and I thought he did really well. And the only issue that he had was that he can't hit the ball with his left foot, obviously. So every time that he was in that position to cross the ball, he'd have to check back and then swing the ball in with his right foot, which obviously kind of hampered our forward progression. But positionally and getting up the pitch and all of that sort of stuff, he was, doing better than we'd seen him play for quite a while. So, pleased to see him certainly in the starting lineup, and pleased to see, that the decision was vindicated. So Lee touched on it, Andy, but the first goal from Doherty was great goal. And I think, as Lee said, it was a Conte, part of the Conte master plan.
Yeah, definitely, because it's all about getting those wing backs up there. And I think, was it Reguilon said earlier in the season when Conte joined that you've got to think like a striker when you're a wing back for Conte. You've got to get forward and you've got to get in the area and you've got to be able to be prepared to get on the crosses. And that's exactly what Doherty did, and that's great. I thought
they did that. I mean, not long after, I think it was in his first game. Not in his first game, they showed after his first game. There was a piece on Sky about how the wing backs had kind of changed slightly in terms of how they tried to play, and then they kind of showed a typical Conte team layout from when he was in charge of Chelsea, and it was a wing back to wing back goal. So that obviously clearly is something that he has a high expectation that the wing backs will contribute. In the attacking third, and so I mean, not as well as the goal. I think and we kind of focused on Doherty here, but Rich, I thought Sessegnon had a really good game going forward and was a threat in the final third as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to sort of echo what you were saying there about Doherty arriving and making those really nicely timed runs to latch onto the final ball. I noticed a couple of times, I think Sessegnon was unlucky not to score at least one, wasn't he? Coming in at the far post and slid in. I think he he either didn't make contact with it at all, or it just went the wrong side of the post. But yeah, I mean, it's promising for both of them, isn't it? Really, really nice to see. After, I mean, Sessegnon seems to have had such a stop-start time, you know.
And I think that's, you know, recently with this 3 or 4 games run that he's had, it just goes to show you have a bit of a run. It makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
Yeah. Although, I mean, you know, Conte wanted to show immediate faith of him, didn't he? When he came in, and he bigged him up immediately, put him into a Conference League game, I think it was, and he promptly got himself sent off.
Yeah.
And you think, he's not going to have a big future. He's not going to have a big future with Conte. But obviously, Conte likes him, and you're right. And I think having a run of games, you know, for anyone really, is going to do their confidence the world of good. But it certainly, you know, seems to be doing him the world of good, and he's really showing.
It's a very hard role, isn't
what
it?
He's about.
That the wing back role must be probably the hardest role in the team, which is probably why in the sort of 70, 75 minutes they're changing them out. But that's relentless, and like you're saying, that you almost have to be a sort of striker at times, because you have to be ahead of even this, you know, that forward player at certain points in the game. It's must be a very, very difficult role to play.
Yeah, I think so. And if you compare, well, I don't really want to dig him out too much, but if you compare Sessegnon, for example, against Leeds, against a general Royale performance, certainly in terms of the defensive side, I think for me, you see the difference in why I say Royale can't defend, because Sessegnon flies back to get back into shape and into position, and then tries to jock in. If he has to, you know, he got booked, I think, for a challenge where I thought he just missed the ball. Like I think that Rafinha, I think, managed to just feather the ball before Sessegnon got a touch on the ball, and that's what I want my players doing. I don't want them just kind of cantering back and watching the play from afar. I want them making sure that they're trying to affect the game. And you know, although he nearly cost us a goal, in the second half with some lax football, but he did recover to get back on the line to make sure he was going to make it as hard as possible. So certainly.
Well, the bit in the middle didn't help either, did it, with Hugo and
and then Ben
Hugo
was he up to?
Yeah.
What was he diving for?
He nearly got sent off there, didn't he? I mean, that's unreal.
I mean, he was going to get sent off, wasn't he? If he touches that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, Dallas only has to look up there to see that Sessegnon is making tracks into the box, and you know, I can't remember whoever the other covering defensive player was. You know, were there, and you think, well, you know, the chance is going rapidly. But look at this opportunity. All I've got to do is fall over, and they've got Gollum in goal for the next half an hour. You know,
yeah, that's right.
Which is worth a goal in itself, isn't it?
Yeah. Actually, it wasn't Galini, was it? It was Brandon Austin.
Oh, of course,
who was on the bench. Yeah,
oh,
who's never played a Premier League game. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so that would have been an introduction, wouldn't it? And man, and
but that just shows you, right? I mean, another team with a bit more confidence would have taken much more advantage of the mistakes that we made there.
Yeah.
And that one there, I mean, that he just needed to shoot from more or less when he'd got past the Reese, let alone try and walk the damn thing in and allowing.
I think it was on his. It was more on his left foot, wasn't it? And that was but I mean, he's like, you know, he's a professional footballer, you know, and most professional footballers should have enough about them, you know, certainly in the Premier League, should have enough about them to say, I can hit this hard enough with my left foot that it will beat I just have to get it on target, because I should be able to hit it with enough power, because Sessegnon hadn't got far enough back at that point to have stopped a ball that was going towards goal. It's interesting.
But going back to
stuff.
Hugo, why didn't Hugo just kick the ball into touch? What the hell was he trying to do? He was trying to use his right foot that he can't even
pass. Yeah. on a pass, weren't he? Yeah.
With his right foot. He can't even use his left foot. I mean, what the hell is he doing with his right? Christ. Jesus Christ, man.
Lee, I think, Lee, you made you said at the beginning that the game could have finished 7-3, and as much as we started well and scored within 10 minutes, Leeds could have taken the lead within the first minute, couldn't they? Because they had that, they had that free kick and it flashed across the goal. So it was an end-to-end game, and I think we'll talk about the commentary a little bit in a minute. So we've got the goal ahead, and then Kulusevski has scored like a lovely. I loved his goal. Yeah. They show it from a different angle, and you see, and he tried it again later on, but it's just so clever in its execution, to try and to dummy the keeper and pop it in. So I think he's really settled in. This is something that we're not used to. I was saying to my son that, two players that are playing, we bought in January and are playing in February.
Hang on, we wrote him off after 10 minutes, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
But now he's actually one of the best players ever now, isn't he? So,
he's given us balance, hasn't he? That's one of the things that it has given us, and Bentancur as well. I think those two are actually very astute acquisitions.
They are. They're very, very intelligent footballers. You can see that they know what to do when they've got the ball.
They obviously know the style as well. This is the thing, So whereas the rest of our players may or may not have the technical acumen to perform the roles, they've got to learn the roles. Whereas it is entirely likely that in their previous club football that they've had to perform very similar things, and so they're not having to learn it from scratch. And
I think that's right. Yeah.
That's the real value, isn't it? That's why they've hit the ground running quite literally.
Yeah. But we signed these players, and I think Bentancur was more accepted than Kulusevski because Bentancur was more a regular.
He won all the titles, didn't he?
Yeah. But Kulusevski, everyone was. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's always a downside, isn't it? But
what I find interesting about Bentancur, though, is that he's been playing for Juve for like 4.5 years, hasn't ever got injured. Comes to Spurs, now he's injured. Wonderful stuff.
Well, it's those wonderful surfaces, isn't it? Without. But Kulusevski's no one kind of wanted. Who's this guy?
He's got ginger hair.
Well, it wasn't. It was but he can't even get into the Juve first team. Why are we buying all their rejects? Blah blah blah. No, looks like a top talent. Was he 21 as well? He's very young, isn't he? He makes good decisions and looks like one for the now and the future.
We've swapped the almost endless industry of Lucas Moura for a whole host of end products that we haven't been used to seeing.
Yeah, true. Yeah. At one point this season, I was actually saying to almost everybody that Lucas Moura was doing a great job, but
he was.
Kulusevski, he was doing a great job.
But Kulusevski's come and he's just got much more balance and poise.
But does that show how? Does that show how? Our expectations get lowered based on what we have available or what we're used to.
I think it's just I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, but I don't think you were the only person that thought that Moura was doing a good job. But I thought he was having a fairly good season. But then Kulusevski's come in and he's showed some real end product in terms of goal contributions, assists. Just
Moura gets it. And he but he's also very, very industrious, and he is still a good player. I think he's still a good squad player, but he does imbalance the team, and I think that's the thing that Kulusevski's given us more, a better balance overall, and I think that's why he'll stay in, and that's probably why Moura had that strop and in the Burnley game and pissed off down the tunnel, and
did he?
Didn't look apparently he didn't look very happy at all.
It's not like him, though, is it? He's not.
No, not at all. But then he was left out even from the bench from the next game, wasn't he?
The next game,
Does that so?
So Mora's gone.